Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur from both the match attending and international supporters' view. This episode will be covering the City game from last Sunday. We'll be looking at the away game against Man U next weekend and all the news and transfers around the club. A lot to get through, apart from the transfers. Let's get into it.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Glenn, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm doing well. It's funny. I was going to say exactly what you just said around the transfers. Is there much to get into in regards to transfers, which we cover our
Can you imagine how many hours of podcast, live YouTube videos and podcasts there were with absolutely nothing to talk about
yeah.
on Monday?
No, indeed. Yeah, well, look, before we get into it, returning guest Jeremy, welcome, mate. How are you?
Cheers, mate. Good to see you, Glenn. Good to see you, Graham. Yeah, I'm fine, Came off a really good performance for the second half. If we just go with that, then I'm in a good mood for the week. We'd have lost that. Bad mood for the week, normal.
Yeah, normal standard. So you watched it live, I take it, Jeremy. It's always an agreeable time for you there, isn't it? 9:30 a.m, I expect, Mountain Time.
Yeah, it was lovely. But you know what? The first half went so badly. I was kind of texting through the second half, so I didn't pay too much attention. I was... somebody said, God, those poor people at the stadium, they want to leave. And I said, yeah, I wish I could go somewhere, but I'm already home, so I couldn't really leave. So I was stuck watching the game, but I ended up rewatching the second half later that evening, actually, and really focusing on it. And it really was an impressive half from us, and it showed what we can do. So I think we could take a lot of positives from that.
Do you think that is in spite of Frank, or do you think Frank inspired some of that?
Well, he changed things up in the half-time, didn't he? So I think that Frank has to get some credit for it. If he's going to get the blame for everything, he's got to get credit when things do go well as well, which is only fair. And as we were talking about beforehand, I thought what was really interesting was having Paulinho in the back line and Gray.
Yeah.
And I thought that changed the whole dynamic of the way we played. And switching to that back four in particular kind of changed things up and seemed to open up the field. And we took a little more direct route instead of the usual path with Romero kind of walking the ball up the field and then looking for a path, which he's very good at. It's fine. But I thought Gray showed the team this is what happens if you're brave. And Paulinho, he worked it up. And there was that one moment early in the second half where Gray really did incredibly. And then he hit an incredible cross-field ball. And that seemed to really get us, you remember that? It seemed to get us on the front foot. It exposed the space from Man City. And it kind of rattled them a bit. And I felt it kind of lifted our team. And I thought that was the start of it all. So for me, Gray was the key player, and he got everyone playing. And every time he got on the ball, he drove us forward. I mean, I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, he had a good game. Graham, you, of course, didn't attend because I had the pleasant news to see my email from Tottenham Hotspur saying our season tickets sold. So I was like, oh, bloody hell.
That was my biggest shock of the day was that I think the first time in about 3 months that we put the tickets on the exchange and some poor mugs actually bought them. It's been a tough one.
Well, I joked to you. I said they're probably Man City fans.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
I assume you watched at home with the dog, with the family, or on your own?
Just on my own with the dog. I watched it. First half went. I actually, if you look at most of the games we played against them, the game tends to go in like 3 acts. Yeah. So there's the first third of the game, they absolutely dominate us, and there's been games where we've not conceded. But then there's games where we generally concede first. And then the middle of the game, it tends to turn a little bit. And then we always seem to finish really strongly against them as well. And it kind of worked out that way. I thought that, obviously, tactically, a big change at halftime going from the 3 at the back to a 4, which seemed to make quite a big difference.
It certainly did.
And I also thought that our transitions, like from winning the ball back to getting the ball up the pitch a lot quicker than we probably have been doing in a lot of games. Really, I think we had them really rattled for a while. We were really getting in behind them, creating quite a lot of chances. It was really good to see.
I don't remember too much of note in the second half that City had as far as clear-cut chances. It was all Tottenham, like from what I could see.
Yeah.
Maybe I would say that.
A couple of half chances.
A couple of half chances. Other than it being a complete piece of brilliance and improvisation from Solanke, I also thought the build-up play and the ball from Gallagher, and where Gallagher was in the pitch to provide that assist was something that we've missed if we didn't have Gallagher in the team. Jeremy, how did you think Gallagher did? Well, how's he doing for you broadly? It's been a few games. What did you make of the signing when we brought him in, and how did you think he did against City?
Well, he's a proven player, so it's a bloody good signing, there's no doubt. And he's got some European experience now as well. Obviously, nobody likes the fact of where he came from, and that shall never be discussed again. That's irrelevant, because now he obviously doesn't like those people. He likes us. So, and he's shown he's got real grit. I like the tenacity. I like the energy he brings. He's a more positive mindset. And I think what I've seen so much, and I hear from everybody else, is we've got some good players like Betancourt, Bissouma even on his day, they're good, but they have a tendency to kind of look back and sideways instead of forwards.
Yeah.
Bergval's the one who drives us forwards. Gallagher's another one who's looking forward.
Yeah.
And that goal kind of highlighted that. There was a lot of tenacity to get the ball, to win the ball, and to drive into the space and to make the cross. So I think he really does add an element that we have been seriously lacking. And we need those players moving forward. So I think he's a great signing. I think it's too soon to say anything negative or positive, but I have nothing negative to say. He needs time to settle in, but he's already shown a lot of what we need.
Good energy. And we're getting to the transfer window in a little bit, or the transfer window deadline day that was not. The other one that we signed, Sousa, he was on the bench, Graeme. So it's clear to me they're looking at a pathway to get him straight in the team. I don't know what your views are on that. We didn't see him, of course, but you might see him, right, in the future games.
Well, I think we just don't have a lot of cover, do we, at left back? And I think he is it, I think, at the moment, with Spence being out as well. So I'm kind of not surprised. I thought he probably would have gone, and we talked about it at length last time, really thought he'd probably go out on loan, probably at least for 6 months, maybe longer.
I thought he'd go back to Santos,
Yeah, but maybe just the lack of, obviously we tried and failed to get Robertson.
Yes.
And whilst he is no Robertson, he is a warm body who's currently not injured, which is a rare commodity these days for us, it seems.
Do we know anything about him? I mean, anyone seen him play at all?
Graham's friend, I'm relinquishing on his name. Alex, yes. Alex is from Brazil, right? And did he know of him?
Yeah, and he asked some friends back in Brazil, and he said that he was Santos's best chance of a good payday. They have a lot of financial problems. They needed to sell someone to balance the books, and he was the one that they would get the most money for. He was standout performer in a very poor team last season, which was probably why he got so much game time and has really shone a little bit. So he's played a lot of first-team football for a 19-year-old already. Fairly positive, but he did say he's no Roberto Carlos, though.
Not many are.
Do we know anything about where his strengths are? Is he a good attacking player? Is he more strong on the defensive side? I know nothing about him.
Attacking, I think. I've seen it. I've seen a few videos of his dribbling with the ball, overlapping with the winger. I think he's playing with one of the... I can't remember his name now. It was one of the ones that was at PSG. The Brazilian.
Yeah.
Neymar. Is it Neymar Jr.?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think he's playing with Neymar. So, every ball gets past to Neymar.
Yeah.
But, I could see him overlapping with Neymar. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, look, we'll get to the transfer window in a minute, but Jeremy, you touched on it. Frank needs to get credit. If we're going to label everything that's wrong at his door, then when things go well, we need to give him some credit. The two of you, maybe I'll start with you, Jeremy. Broadly speaking, do you see proof to be excited? Do you see green shoots? Do you see patterns of play? Because in that second half, I did, and I started to see some things from Frank. Maybe there is something here. But then the lack of backing in the window worries me for him. But what's your take, Jeremy, broadly and looking at the future? It's only been a short time he's been our manager. Where do you sit on that, mate?
Well, like you on the text thread, kind of go back and forth about this one. There was a period where I don't think anybody wanted to see him show up for training the next day, If I try to take a more balanced approach, I would say he definitely needs time, but he's had injuries. Dealing with a lot of injuries. You saw what happened when we got a centre-forward back, Solanke. He's been incredible. And now we have a focal point. We have something to aim at. We've got a method to our play. And the people who have been playing striker have been disappointing. Is that on Frank? He didn't necessarily recruit those people. He came in. So I think there's enough to say we got to give him time. but there's not enough to say I'm excited either. But there's also not enough to say we should get rid of him, because I don't see how that serves us. He clearly is an intelligent manager, a smart manager, and the evidence I see is that the players are still playing for him. And Romero's text, we all saw that.
It wasn't a dig at him, was it?
Yeah,
it was a dig at the club. So I think if they're all in it together, he hasn't lost the dressing room. There's no reason I can see that we should possibly be thinking anything other than giving him time. And the players need to adjust to the way he's thinking. And look at the team we put out against City. How often have we put out the same team twice? I mean, it's really been hard to achieve. And when we have done it, it's always been because there's nobody else. He's trying to figure it out still. So I think it is time. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Weirdly, we've had two really good performances actually three now. The two Champions League games and this one, where we didn't really actually the Champions League. It's even more pronounced in the Champions League games because we don't have all the players that are available to us that are not injured registered. So it's kind of even worse for those games. And actually, but almost by default, we've put a team out and they've actually played really well. And City was the same, that we're really limited on who we could have put on the pitch. But you got a tune out of them. And you can't, as you say, you can't not praise him for when he does get a performance out of the team. If you're going to criticise him for when he doesn't, it has to be balanced, right?
To bring up one point quickly, I mean, how different could that game have been if Van der Ven is starting instead of Dragusin? Dragusin's been out for a year, and he got completely stuffed by a pretty straightforward move that I think any of us would have said, Van der Ven, there's no chance he scores.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, that Cherky goal, was Van der Ven. That probably doesn't happen, does it, with Van der Ven in the team?
No, not a chance.
Yeah.
And, and I think as well as that, you got to look at how that affects the rest of the team. You've got a defender in there who probably doesn't want to be at the club anymore. I think he's mentioned that as well. And he's having to start.
Certainly his agent hasn't stopped mentioning it.
Yeah, so we know that. So that's got to have an impact. Romero's sick as well. He's ill. And somehow the team managed to put in, I thought, an okay performance in the first half, although they got caught out too easily. But you could see they were trying to do something. And
I also thought
that gave positives.
I thought, is it the Cherky goal went across the goal?
Yeah, the one that he cut.
I thought Vicario could have done better with that.
It wasn't like a barnstorming great shot, was it?
And it wasn't right in the corner either. I thought he could have done. They probably could have done better with that, but
I wouldn't disagree with that.
It wasn't a terrible howler or anything, but I felt like he could have done better. I think he's saved better shots than that this season already.
So Solanke's second, are we putting that up in lights to say that's goal of the season? Pretty amazing goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those ones where.
Do you think he means it then? Or do you think he's just
reacted?
He's very reactive.
It's the only way for him to get something on the ball, and he does it, and it just loops into the corner. It looks fantastic, but I'm not sure he knew much about that.
Yeah, I was kind of like halfway with you there in that. Yes, I saw it, great goal, but I'm like, is it just purely instinctive? I just need to get something on this, and the keeper actually gets some fingers to it, doesn't he? And then obviously it goes in. But amazing finish on the eye. Jeremy, what did you make of it, mate? You been goal of the season, or are you with Graeme on that?
I don't know if it's goal of the season, because I don't know that he really thought, I can put this into the top corner here if I do this. I don't think there was a lot of thought of that. I think it was a bad cross that he made the most of, and I don't think he had any idea where the hell the ball was going to go. He was under pressure as well. And it went in, luckily. And it looked spectacular because it came off. I don't know. For me, hopefully we'll see better goals of the season than that. Hopefully from us. It
kind of reminds me, I think it was 91, when Cundy scored from the halfway line against Ipswich.
Yeah.
And I think afterwards they got him to try it like 10 times again. He couldn't get anywhere near it.
You're not going to get it.
I reckon if you played the same ball in 10 times, he's not getting close to doing that again.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Now there is one player who would do that all the time, and that was Zlatan.
Yeah, Zlatan would always try and do. He'd get it.
If that was Zlatan, you would think he moved into that position to do it on purpose. With Solanke,
exactly. Yeah,
he's overshot the run, all the passes wrong.
That's actually a really good point from Jeremy. It comes down to the player. If Zlatan or Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo does that, they definitely meant it. It's like,
So here's the thing. Solanke's going to have to do it again just to show what he meant. We have to see this like at least once a month now from Solanke.
He's done that. He's done that 3-touch goal as well, where it kind of rattled around inside his heels and into the goal. So he hasn't really scored a lot of normal goals yet.
What did you make of the possibility of that being a foul on the first goal? Like when he's come through the legs, got the ball, it's gone in, and it's kind of ricocheted off of his foot and the defenders, but he's clearly caught the Achilles of the defender. But for me, that's where modern football has just gone a bit mental with that will be given as a foul. I think that's just part and parcel of the game. You're very much entitled to go for that like a goalkeeper is. But either of you think that was a foul? And if we were on the other side of that, we'd be aggrieved? Or do you think it was fair game to go for it and get the goal?
I'll say I don't see that as a foul at all. And something that nobody's really talked about, and maybe you can correct, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I looked that back and tried to watch it in slow-mo. Gay, I think it was Gay, wasn't it, the defender?
Yeah.
Was that it was? Yeah. He got his foot there, but I don't think he got the ball at all. I don't think he touched the ball. I think if anything, that could have been a foul on Solanke.
I think it was already becoming one, yeah.
So how it could be possibly seen as a foul from Solanke, he's about to kick the ball and a defender basically practically stamps on his foot. I don't know if he actually caught his foot, but he got his foot in the way. And if the ball is moved a little bit further away and Solanke trips over that foot, it's a clear pen and a foul. So I don't see how that could be called a foul against Solanke. If anything, it should go in his favour. And he still managed to get the finish through the legs. I don't see how that could possibly be a foul. He made full contact with the ball.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Graeme, any differing views?
Well, no, I agree. And the fact that it wasn't given as an own goal and was given, it means he made the contact as well, right? So,
correct. Yeah.
He made clear contact.
Exactly. Well, before we cover the United game, I did want to get into the transfer deadline day and the transfer window as a whole. But before
this should be quick.
Well,
I've got a minute. Go on.
But one thing I want to highlight before we do that, this is our injury list at the moment. Madison, Bentancur, Kudus, Davies, Ugval, Richarlison, Morrow, Solanke's 50-50 of a knock, Mero, illness, maybe a bit of a bollocking from his post, Van der Ven being assessed, Spence being assessed, Kulusevski long-term, Danso needs a new toe apparently. So
it needs to be stapled back on.
There's the context for what we don't have, and we have brought in, on deadline day, a kid from Scotland. Before that, we've signed Gallagher, who we just talked about, and the left-back, who we just talked about. How underwhelmed were you both? Graeme, I'll start with you from the window. You'd messaged me something interesting, Graeme, that you actually feel really sorry for Thomas Frank. You feel he's been a bit let down.
I honestly think that they've completely pulled the rug out from under him. I've seen enough games at home this season that think that there's been something wrong with the tactics because the amount of chances we were making was nowhere near good enough. But how do you build and reinforce a style of play if you can never have the same players on the pitch? It must be frustrating for him. And I feel like we could probably talk about the Langer video. I don't know if you've seen it, Jeremy, yet.
I've
heard about it.
Yeah.
I heard it wasn't worth watching.
It's like you might as well go and watch a beige wall dry. It's very dull. He's the dullest person alive, Langer. Even though he's a voice in the video, he sounds slightly like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I kept waiting him to ask to get to the chopper. It was like... But no, everything he says, it's all the questions are all teed up for him by Ben Haynes. And it's just a bit, there's nothing. It's a politician's answers.
It's almost like those types of interviews shouldn't be done with the person doing the interviewee. So the interviewer should be neutral. It shouldn't be someone from the club. Like you'd like to see BBC Sport or Sky Sports or somebody in there asking some hard questions of him. But no, they won't do that. The club will never sanction that. So I haven't seen it. I probably won't bother watching it.
I guess I'm also I have so many questions about the way the club is being run on the footballing side, but generally, like
who are the football people like within the setup? It's not Charrington. It's not Vinny or Vinay.
We apparently Paratici stayed until the end of January to complete the window. But I think I think he was on garden leave for January. I don't think he had any involvement. I can't believe he had any involvement.
He's helped his new employee more than anything. I mean,
well, they've signed more players than we have.
Yeah. 100%. And then, Jeremy, I'll come to you in a minute because I'd like to get your opinion. You were quite vocal on some of the chats we're in. One thing I'll say as well, which I was just completely puzzled and befuddled by, is Frank came out and said we tried really hard to get Semenyo. Now, it was well documented that Semenyo's release clause had to be activated before January 16th. So we tried really hard before 16th for a tricky winger, someone who I really rate, and then we seemingly did nothing after we didn't get him, because there was 2 weeks and some after that had happened. So I'm like, what were you doing? Like, what was happening afterwards? But Jeremy, over to you, mate. Try and talk me back off of the ledge in terms of Tottenham's setup.
Well, I think Semenyo, if it's just a matter of, release clause, here's the check, thank you, check in at the lane, then I think it would have happened. But it's down to the player, ultimately. It's his decision. So if he doesn't want to come to us because Manchester City's coming, which would you pick? Let's face it, Glenn. Which would you pick, us or Man City?
I heard today that our offer was more than City's as well.
I'm sure it was, because we have to. We have to. We got to try and tempt it. But, all right, so that speaks more highly of the player then, that he took the idea of better football over better wages, maybe.
Yeah, he fancied his chances of being a regular in that team. That's it.
And he's proven himself already.
Yeah, already.
He's really done well.
My main issue isn't that we didn't sign him. My main issue is that we've been vocal about saying that we didn't get him and we tried, and then we seemingly sat on our thumbs and did nothing afterwards. Same with Gibbs White, right, in the summer. That's my main issue.
Gibbs White, again, that was a different one. That was a frustrating one.
But I don't think it's the player that whether the transfer did or didn't happen. It's we seem to get paralysed after the fact. We kind of it's like we had a plan A and then we didn't know what to do after that.
I liken it to driving through a drive-through and really wanting a chocolate milkshake and then not having any, and then me just going, I don't know what to do now. I don't want vanilla or banana.
Maybe Semenyo is the last thing that Paratici teed up, and after that, the other thing is that I'm pretty sure that until Paratici said he was off, that Langer's actual role has been to scout the players for the youth academy setup and the younger players to bring those in. And I guess you could say he did that because he brought in Sousa and whatever his name is, Jimmy Cranky, the other guy. So
which pinched under Arsenal's nose apparently. So take that for what it's worth.
So
that's a win
from that perspective. He probably did his job. But once Paratici was going, I feel like the first team squad, which is clearly suffering and has gaping holes in it at the moment, and a lot of these players are long term still. Even the ones that we didn't think were about that bad, they're going to be like Danso will be out for months.
Yeah.
We've got next to no centre back cover.
So I can't remember what group it was, Jeremy. It might have been the Colorado Spurs WhatsApp group, but you said something which was quite out of character for you because you're quite a balanced football fan and Spurs fan. But you basically said you feel that the club have looked at this and said this season's a write-off. Like we didn't sign anyone. We write it off. Are you standing by that? Do you think that's what's happening here and what's happened?
Yeah, when I say that, I don't mean they've just completely given it up and whatever happens, happens. But I also don't think they see, it's not like we're pushing for a Champions League spot, okay? Yeah. So I think we have enough to stay up and give a Champions League push maybe, and we should have enough in the squad to make that happen. I think centre-back is a problem area again. But we do have shown we do have emergency cover in the way of Paulinho or Gray, as he showed last season. That's not ideal to me. And I still don't understand why we didn't recall Ashley Phillips at the least, if not Vuskovic.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
I don't know if we did with Ash Phillips.
Phillips and Alfie Dorrington both came back from their loan.
No, Alfie Dorrington went out. He went out.
Yeah, no, they came back and then went out again somewhere different, I think.
Now, Ash Phillips didn't. He's still at Stoke.
Yeah,
is he? I thought he was recalled as well.
Played on Sunday. He's playing a lot, actually. He's played 90 minutes. He's played 90 minutes for them every game. Yeah, basically this season he's played a lot of football. So, yeah.
So is it Dorrington that came back?
Must have been Dorrington, yeah.
But he went
at
out.
Aberdeen.
He
was at Aberdeen, wasn't he? He was at Aberdeen.
Yeah, he was.
He came back.
And Jeremy, you just mentioned a name there, Vuskovic.
Yeah, he's the one.
He's the one, isn't he? But I'm hearing wild rumours that he's starting to be touted to Bayern Munich, and we could see a situation where we sell a player that's never actually worn our shirt. Do you read much into that, or do you think he's going to be a Spurs player next season?
Well, he's being touted heavily. Yes, Bayern Munich. Who was it who mentioned it? It was the Croatian player, wasn't it? One of the top Croatian players said Bayern Munich needs to sign him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because he's young, but he's clearly brilliant. Some of it will depend upon where he wants to go, but we own him. We have a quite good contract with him. So we have the power in this. We can bring him in. Van der Ven, remember, has been making noises about wanting to leave. So if we get
and
big
Romero.
money,
Romero.
and Romero, and honestly, if we get, let's say we got 200 million for those two, and you got Vuskovic coming back in, are we really in a worse situation with that kind of money to spend on another good centre back? Romero, for me, I think is brilliant. I love him. And I freaking hate the guy at the same time. It's like, I can't, he is truly Jekyll and Hyde. I think he's so fantastic, and I love him as our captain. I really do. Van der Ven, I think, is brilliant, absolutely faultless. But if he doesn't want to be with us, we got to build teams around players that want to be with us. And Vuskovic gives us that option to be able to say, right, we can start anew from here. But I think him staying on loan was the right move this season, because he's doing so well and he's so young. Let him keep that confidence building, let him grow, and let him step right back into the Prem next season.
My worry is that he's already talking about wanting to stay there another year because his brother plays there, and his brother's currently suspended for drugs, and he will return in November. So he wants to stay there and play with him. But I'm hoping we don't give him that decision. That should be our decision to make, not his.
I can't see the club saying, "Oh, fine, yeah, hang out with your brother." No, we need.
I'd have said, actually, just buy his brother and bring him here in as well.
I think I like when I start to think and look forward, and we all say about Tottenham project and the youngsters that we've got and the players, but if you start to think about a spine, you've got Vuskovic, Gray, Bergvall, Gallagher,
Mikey Moore to come back.
You've got like a really good nucleus there. And Ange was the one that said it actually right before he moved on. He said in a press conference, I think it was maybe before the final or maybe before the semi-final, that he said, I hope I'm the manager to bring these ones forward, because we've got so much talent in this club. And maybe that feeds into why we give the likes of Dane Scarlett very little minutes and we just bin him off out on loan. Maybe there is a wider plan here, but we're all not smart enough to see it. I hope so, but this past transfer window does not fill me with a ton of optimism. But let's see. Let's see what it brings. Is there any one player either of you would say, other than Semenya, that you thought, shit, why didn't we go and get him? Like, is there, because there wasn't much movement, right? I think there was only 7 deadline day deals, so it wasn't like
it was very quiet.
Yeah, it was very quiet.
It was one of the quietest windows ever, wasn't it?
But I was listening to someone talking about this, and one of the problems is both the Europa League and the Champions League teams, a very high percentage of the best teams in Europe are still in European competition because the playoffs are in February.
Yes.
So, like, nobody wants to sell players whilst they've still got a chance of progressing in both European competitions. Yeah,
because the old European setup was there would be no European football in January. Like, it'll be done, and then you would know that you're in or you're out by that's a great point. So now we've got the playoffs to contend with right after the window, essentially. That's a really good point, Graeme. I hadn't considered that. Jeremy, for you, any one player that you thought, we really should have tried to get him, other than obviously Semenya, like I mentioned? But for me, across the board, it seemed quiet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would love to have seen a loan come in, a loan to buy for a player called anyone, someone, and his brother, me too, somebody, anybody. It's like, I think we could have taken a bit of a punt on somebody on loan with a buy. There's got to be somebody out there. When I said the season's a write-off, what I mean is I'm okay with us not signing a player if he's not the right player. If he's not on the list, outed. I don't want to just sign players. We've seen that in the past, and how's that helped us? It hasn't. But a loan with an option to buy is a different story. We get to try them out, see how it goes.
Yeah.
That's the only disappointment I have, is that we didn't bring anybody in who can really help the team immediately. But we've also got actually Bissouma back, so he was supposed to be gone and out the club. He's a pretty strong player to put in there who we didn't have the first half of the season.
Well, and look, I don't know the inner workings of like the injuries and when they might not come back, but I've seen a bit of footage of Maddison. He seems to really love Spurs because he's always wearing retro shirts. But he's back on grass, and he looks raring to go from what I can see. I
think they're still saying April, though, aren't they?
Yeah, like I saw, and I guess it's early Feb, so maybe that's not that long away. But to me, he looks way ahead of what I thought I would see from a player that's had that kind of an injury.
I almost wouldn't be surprised if we saw him before Kulusevski.
I would, yeah. I was about to say the same,
That's
yeah.
a surprise.
Kulusevski, whatever he had going on, he's had surgeries, and he wasn't Kulusevski seen on an EasyJet or a Ryanair flight going to get some kind of specialist. I'm like, what? We put him in economy on EasyJet, right? Fucking
That's so Spursy that.
yeah. God almighty.
Economy plus, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe.
The other one that I would have maybe liked to have seen us push a bit harder for was it Akliouche, the guy from Monaco.
Yeah.
He played really well against us, and I'm not saying you should buy players just for that reason, but he's been excellent this season. And it's a position that we haven't replaced for Son as well. So I felt like that would have give us better attacking options, but. Apparently we tried, and we may go back in for him in the summer, but
yes, indeed, we will see. Looking ahead with our no new signings, Man United away on Saturday. Jeremy, a 5:30 a.m. kickoff for you, 11:30 p.m. for me on the Saturday night, and 12:30 for you, Graham. Will you be getting up live, Jeremy? It's an early one for you, mate.
Here's what happens. No, I will not set my alarm. I'm not going to get up at 5:30. My internal Tottenham alarm clock wakes me up at 5:25 a.m. anytime. Doesn't matter how tired I am. Nothing I can do about it. I'm sure everyone listening has the same phenomenon. Yeah. So, yes, I'll probably get up and watch us.
It's the sense of impending doom that does it.
Yeah, I just need to know how bad it is, really. That's what it is. Yeah. You know it's going to be a car wreck, but you just want to see if it's just the front or the whole thing gets totally written off.
I think from a perspective of the team that he picks, it almost picks itself, doesn't it? Like, it probably is much the same.
Depends on those 50-50 players, I guess, whether Romero and Van der Ven come back in.
If Romero should be fine.
You'd hope so.
Well, just be honest. Unless they're saying Van der Ven will be all right.
Having said that, Romero should, but we played quite well with a 4. So if you've got Romero,
we were better without him on the pitch. Yeah,
maybe, or
centre forward alongside Solanke. He's much better up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, chuck him up top. But from the Man United perspective, I've not actually seen a lot of them since Carrick's come, but they are winning games. They've won some big games as well. They beat Man City and they beat Arsenal. And importantly for them, they're 2 wins away from that bloke getting his hair cut. The one with the big boot.
I almost just want it to happen because it's not even funny anymore, is it?
Yeah, have you know what we're talking about, Jeremy? Have you followed that?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. It's like when I look at it,
pretty soon his hair won't fit in the stadium.
Like when I look at it, I'm like, God, that must be so itchy. It just looks horrible.
What a stupid thing to say.
But so they're 2 wins away from that being a possibility. Can we be Dr. Tottenham and have him start the count again? From back down to 0.
Well, I actually think that the way we play we might have a good chance against them, because I think we've been, especially the way we played second half, that high press.
Yeah,
and they don't like Man United. Don't like that press. If we can really push the press aggressively, I think they're all right. They're quite good if you give them time and the ball. But if we get at them and we can turn the ball over higher up the pitch, well, we got a good chance of getting something out of the game.
Look,
I'm actually quite positive about this one. I don't know where that's come from, but really.
Look, we certainly don't have anything to fear in going to Old Trafford. We've won there. It used to be a hoodoo, right? But we've won there quite often, quite frequently these days, these seasons. The thing that worries me, the main thing that really worries me, and I agree with you, I think the likes of Xavi Simons had a really good game against Man City as well, and he was integral to that press. My concern is with half an hour, 25 minutes to go, it's having the cattle on the bench to keep that intensity up. Like, that's my concern. And the quality, it could be similar to what happened against PSG, right, in the Super Cup, where you play really well, you make the changes, and then we drop off. So I don't know. It says to me we might get a draw, but that's another draw in the league. And I guess 2 points from 6 being Man City and Man United away, you'd probably be happy with. But ahead says to me draw. But Jeremy, what do you reckon, mate? How do you stack our chances up as far as performance and result away to rating?
Oh, God, it's a tough one. I really haven't seen them either under Carrick, so I don't know how they're playing or what they're doing. But I don't fear them, put it that way, because I think they play more on the front foot, which suits our style of play. Yeah. We do struggle against some of those low block teams, there's no doubt. You know, the lower league teams we struggle against. And I think we're starting to put it together with the likes of Xavi Simons and obviously Gallagher in there. And having Solanke back is the key. So if he's fit again this weekend, I think we've got every chance. And I'm going to say this, if he starts, we've got a good chance. If he doesn't start, I don't see how we win this. I really don't. It's that simple.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Do you know what? The Man United Spurs games, be it at the Lane or at Old Trafford, they generally do tend to be good games of football. Like, I don't remember one that's been shit in recent time. They've usually been decent. It was 2-2 at home, wasn't it, against them? But Graham, what do you reckon, mate? Do you reckon win?
Well, I think stylistically, I think it's a good matchup for us. Because if you look at, I looked at some, I won't go into detailed stats, but basically United concede a high percentage of their chances from turnovers in midfield and wide overloads, which we're very much a wide team. Nearly everything goes down the sides, and we're quite aggressive in the press, so that should play into our strengths. And then we're also, a high percentage of our shots come from transitions. So I think for me, this is all about winning the ball but transitioning up the pitch quickly, which I think we did that against Man City, certainly in the second half. So if we can carry on with keep that kind of press up and winning the ball back and getting into offensive areas quickly, and I think actually we struggled earlier in the season when Kudus was playing, because he has this horrible habit of checking back inside and slowing the play down. And by that stage, the team's all back behind the ball and you lose the attacking momentum. And, all of a sudden, when you might have had an overload, you don't anymore because everyone's behind the ball. But I think I've really liked Odobert.
Yeah,
I think he's really improved the last few games.
He's been
he
good.
Really looks more confident. And I think that he's got into some dangerous positions. I feel like I'm not going into this thinking that we're going to get an absolute whooping. I think that we've got a chance of getting something out of the game.
Well, and what's interesting is, and take this for what it's worth, the head-to-head, we haven't lost to Man United since October of 2022 when Antonio Conte was our manager. That's an actually mental stat. When you think about the amount of times we played them, we haven't lost to them since then, which is mad. Also, and look, I'd much rather still be in the FA Cup. I think it's a tournament and a competition that we're long overdue, but we're not. We're out. We've only got 3 games in February. We've got this weekend, then we've got midweek home to Newcastle, and then home to Arsenal. So we don't play a week
because we're not in it because we didn't have to do the playoff games in the
didn't have to do the playoff
League.
game. We're out the FA Cup, and there's no midweek. So it's actually an opportunity for Frank to have more time on the training pitch with them, and the overload of games that we were having with massive players missing. So maybe that could play into our favour for February as well. Everyone was looking at February as a daunting task with the fixtures we have. Maybe it will play into our hands. I'm not that concerned by Newcastle, but we'll cover that in a future episode. But let's see. Maybe Man City's second half was a turning point. We can.
I've said that about 6 times this season, though.
I know.
I'm going to say one other thing. We're still a young team. We're still a very young team. Yeah. Now, remember, when we used to play, even if we weren't playing well, if we weren't playing on the front foot, we could catch teams on the break between Son and Kane. It's just, what's going to happen. And they were telepathic. We don't have that yet. Against Man City, there was a superb break. And I think, was it Odobert who was on the overlap on the right? It opened up, you know what I mean? And Xavi Simons just took a little bit too long to put him through. That pass goes a little bit quicker, we score. And it was a decent save, but I think that kind of counterattack, these players don't know each other. They just don't know what to do. So Xavi Simons is looking to the left and the right, figuring out who's making the run. That sort of chemistry takes a bit of time. And as we start to connect a bit more, that'll improve. So I think that's something we've really got to look forward to. But I think that's also you've got to give some credit to Frank because he's creating those overload opportunities with the tactics. So I think there is something there. I really do. I am hopeful.
I make you right. And I think as well, if you look at the last 3 months, there's been no more than 2 training days between fixtures. By the time you've had a day off after the match, come back into training, had a midweek game, same again, then another weekend game. So I don't think he's really had enough time to reinforce a lot of the training and tactics with the players. That combine that with the amount of churn of players that we've had available, I think that have a period of time where he has the same players for 2 or 3 weeks and has 4 or 5 days between matches to actually work with them, that maybe we start to see improvements in the chemistry as well, like you're saying, that they'll get to know where each other's going to be on the pitch when they're in possession of the ball and where to play it. And I think just maybe we we will see a real renaissance in the second half of the season.
Do either of you two put any weight in the fact a large crop of these players went on a hell of a European run last season, and they know their way around knockout football now, it would seem? Do you think there's any hope that we go deep in the Champions League? I'm not suggesting we win it, because I think there are teams that are much better than us. But with a kind of draw as we progress through the rounds, do you think we could go deep into like a semi-final or something? Or do you think that's just outlandish and a stupid thing to suggest?
Go on, Graeme. You go first on this one.
Anything's possible, right? I feel.
What I'm saying is, should we book our Budapest Airbnbs yet?
Did I see?
Make sure you can get a refund on it, mate. That's what I'm just going to say.
Is it Galatasaray and Juventus, or are two of the teams that we could meet in the next round? And I
think
we played Galatasaray last
I hate those Galatasaray
season.
Games.
Was it was it the league stage last season we played them?
We lost.
Yes, and we lost. Yes,
that was the one where Lancashire scored and then got sent off.
Yeah.
So, horrible atmosphere.
Yeah, it's not a great place to do it, but because of where we finished, the away leg is first, right? We play at home second.
Yeah,
we're always at home second leg. Jeremy, what do you reckon, mate? Do you reckon there's a possibility this could happen with the players that we've got and the history that we have, and maybe the players to come back? Like, we could go deep?
I honestly think we'll have a better idea of that after the Man United game. It just seems that there's just been too choppy. You can't say, based on, if we were talking last Friday, or if we were talking at half time of the City game,
you'd say no.
We'd be saying, I'm not even going to bother watching the second leg, right? We'd be out. Yeah. But I think we've shown there are some signs there. So I still think it's too early to tell. I don't think I'd write us off, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. I think we've definitely got a good chance. And, yes, that experience last season, we played a different style, and we've shown this season with the campaign that we're pretty well suited to that European style. So there's no reason why we can't, with a lucky draw, go a little bit further into it.
Interesting as well that of the teams that are already through, there's a lot of English teams.
Yeah,
and I think we can play them from the quarterfinals. I think,
which you wouldn't bet against. Look, you wouldn't bet against with the quality, and I'm not including us in this statement, of Arsenal. Liverpool have figured it out somewhat. Man City figured it out. Us, like, you could see a four. If we got to the final, we could play Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal 3 games in a row. Well,
I guess it's possible. I don't know about the fixture tree, but
let's say it does happen. Only Spurs would figure out a way to make it to European finals and only play English teams. That seems to be what's happening.
I hate it as well. Yeah.
Where's the fun in that? It's boring.
It makes it doubly hard for all the travel and for the last final. The issue was that Liverpool played the day before us, didn't they? So they'd already booked all the hotels and everything before we'd even played the game.
Yeah, well, it's funny, and the reason I say about booking Airbnbs in Budapest is I listened to the Last Word on Spurs podcast, and there was a guy, one of their regulars, and he just basically manifested the fact that we will be in the Europa League final. He booked his flights and his hotel in January for Bilbao, and then it obviously all came to pass. So I'm like, maybe I could channel a little bit of inner him and book it all, and then it definitely happened.
Well, but nobody has said, especially Frank, has not said, I always win a trophy in my first season.
Yeah.
Positivity. And I think I said it very early on last season as well. Do you remember? I said, I think we can go all the way in this Europa League because Ange just told the players this is what happens.
And he did it in September. People forget that. He said that in September. It wasn't like he said it in April. He said it in September, and he fully backed
and that was
himself.
before all the injuries as well, wasn't it? September.
Yeah. Believe. That's the word, isn't it? Believe.
Believe, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
With Frank, it would be, I've never won a trophy.
Yeah. Well,
so maybe this time.
It's food for thought. If anyone wildly disagrees with us, please get in touch and come on as a guest maybe and tell us why we're definitely not going deep in the Champions League.
Well, can I clarify? I don't think any of us have said we have a good chance of winning this thing, have we?
No,
but I think we have a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
But what chance would anybody have given us to reach the Champions League final when we did? Look at the teams we played.
Man City
as well. Were the best team by far in Europe, by far. So you never know.
It's knockout football, of course. And needless to add, we didn't sign anybody in that window. Like, there are some parallels here. Like, maybe we're going to do it.
It's part of the plan. Johan Lang is brilliant. He's come up with a plan.
The team was a patchwork of players as well. We had a lot of injury problems that season as well, didn't we? Like Kane was out for months.
Kane wasn't part of that run. Players like Llorente were key to that run.
Yeah.
Quite interesting parallels. But anyway, let's see. With Graham, we're probably recording next week, having been completely pumped by Man United and being like, no, this season's over.
Yeah. But given I predicted we wouldn't pick up any points in February, we're already ahead of my expectations. So I'm already happy. We've got a point on the board.
Yeah. No, indeed. Nothing else from me for today's episode. As always, Jeremy, an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. You're a great guest. Let's not leave this along next time. I don't know if there's anything more from you, Jeremy or Graham, but I'll start by closing us out as saying, come on, you Spurs, but over to you two to add any final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Jeremy. It's been a pleasure as always. And thanks to everyone else who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And do let us know in the comments if you think that we're talking rubbish or you think otherwise about our chances in the Champions League, especially. And in the up-and-coming matches, Man City was good, but Man United coming next. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on. Closer each day, no matter where.